we try these gigantic ideas, but we don't know how to tell them. We focus so much on the dialogue, on the cool magic element, the sci-fi elements, but in the core, we don't tell a story worth listening to. Sometimes I don't think we get a story that we're attached to. And knowing how to make a simple story, but making it make your audience feel, is I think the best thing I've learned in this class.
Awesome. I can say it better myself. If I have a trailer for this class, I might use that. Hi everyone, I'm back again with another student testimonial. Today I have Patrycja. Patrycja, could you introduce yourself and let everybody know like where you're from, what you do, etc.
Naturally. My name is Patrycja. I'm from Poland, but I grew up 14 years in Dubai, and that's where I'm located. I'm actually studying in Savannah College of Art and Design, SCAD, as an animation major, but the first 2 years I've been doing it online. And I'm studying to be a story artist, hopefully directing my own films in the future.
Awesome. So Patrycja took my 10-week online mentorship, and she finished last year, like around December, I think. And so, Patrycja, I want to ask you, like, there are so many different mentorships, online classes, specifically focused on storyboarding. Why did you decide to specifically take this mentorship and not go and take another mentorship?
Naturally. So, like everybody, I've been observing a few artists, seeing the kind of work they're producing, and also looking at the way they kind of describe their classes. And I have taken some in the past. Like I actually started with Raj with Brainstorm, taking the first storyboarding class, I think, around the year earlier. So I already had an opportunity to see how he teaches, which definitely made it an easier decision down the line. And I think around summer, I realized SCAD itself will not help me get where I want to be as fast as I want to be. That was probably one of the biggest topics. And I've been looking to take a class that really would push me, but also go beyond the basics, because been reading, been watching, been taking some classes, and a lot of the content is very technical, as in the camera movements, the techniques, studying films, but very rarely do they focus on actually working on the story and understanding why you use certain movements and how to make films, especially I want to work in feature animation, not television, how to make it feel cinematic, how to make a story emotional. And I've been following Raj, and I saw his feature mentorship. Sorry, my Zoom disappeared for a second. And I was like, I know what to expect from you and how you could push the students, still making it very enjoyable. And I like the way you taught. So I was like, I thought this will work. And I followed your work also, seeing how you approach your storyboarding, watching your film. So I was like, I don't think I can go wrong here. And it's probably one of the best decisions I have made till now.
That's really great to hear. Thank you so much. So yeah, like I said before, you took the 10-week mentorship and you were able to develop 2 sequences in the mentorship, one in the first 5 weeks, the other in the second 5 weeks, right? If you had to kind of describe the process of creating those pieces to the people watching, how would you describe how you developed those sequences?
Relatively, it was similar. The first one was an exercise we kind of watched. I had to find a video on YouTube and storytelling through like Discovery Channel film on an animal. Watched a few of them, and I wrote down basically how could I make a story out of it, an emotional arc with like 10 points, 15 points, and I did it for I think 2-3 stories because I found them interesting. Then we discussed it onto which one would create the best story on its own within my capabilities to push myself but make it reasonable. We went with penguins. I will never forget that story. So then I started with working with thumbnails, the key ideas of what I wrote down. And I actually come back to this way of working a lot now because it makes it easier when you see it in the simplest terms onto what I want to see and how does it progress. And if it's missing something as we work through it. We went like a first pass, second pass. And I oftentimes commented on my own what was wrong already because I knew my technical skills aren't on my story yet. And we discussed what's working, how I can improve it in terms of camera movements, in terms of how my characters are acting, their little subtle behaviors that make it feel cinematic. And for example, if we see the horizon line below, like my character was very small, placing it in his perspective.
Yes.
So we feel it like you're watching an animated feature film rather than a non-emotional video of penguins in a sense. And it was a lot of going back and forth. Sometimes I had my ideas, sometimes Raj gave me his, and also giving me some ways, showing me how I could do it, which I basically worked with, copied, and definitely helped improve how I approach my distribution of my panels right now currently. While my second one was a little bit more challenging because I had to develop my own story completely. We went through a lot of editing as my idea was gigantic, but I think the core of it stayed in the best way possible. And sometimes I understood how much simple storytelling is so much more important because we slowly, as we discover a character through our writing, is who they are. Like the relationships they had. I had a daughter and a father, and at the end, the relationship I first thought of changed completely. And it wasn't a big scene, it was one single scene. It wasn't too much to talk about the character. And it wasn't very narrative, it was just very visual, pushing how much I can tell my audience through their actions, through behaviors. And I think that's the best thing. No matter how challenging it was a lot of challenge. But I think it got me excited every time, like, okay, now I know what I want to have. And I'll probably come back to that sequence maybe in a few months because I still feel like it could have been way better.
It's like a
but
process where you're always
it's
like
a lot
working on it.
reflecting, watching other films. If I don't know how to do a sequence, I would look for a sequence I think is similar, right? And I definitely, the longer you do it, the more variety of genres you work with, the more action, more emotional, the more you study film, it becomes easier. Because now in my class that I'm doing, the storyboarding class, it's more natural than it ever was.
All right. So my next question is, the mentorship had kind of like two parts, right? So the presentation part, and then we had the story development part. Like, what would you say that you learned in either section that would you say that you never knew before, and that you know now, and that you're gonna use in the future in your future storyboards?
The most accurate, everything.
Well,
I have my notebooks over here. Literally with all the notes, I'm rereading it. I did it actually today because all the content, like if you would to see the schedule, you would perceive it as very similar to every other class. All we had movement, acting. However, once we went into the class, Raj really focused on how to create the effect in the audience, why we use certain things, and how simple it was to understand how to tell a good story, how to create a character who is worth following. And I think that's the hardest thing I have found looking in a lot of works is understanding why we use certain things to tell a story. This mentorship wasn't just focused on knowing how to storyboard, but why you're storyboarding. Why we are making the decisions we want to tell the story. And while I have studied a lot of story material storytelling, I do feel I have finally applied it in a way that works in storytelling. And I think that's the most important thing, because like obviously the practice, and as we build a structure, we start with the armature rather than going with the themes. That's the biggest thing that stuck till now. The way I think of films when I study them is like, it's not I don't want to say your secret. So if you want to learn more, take the mentorship. But how much we need the structure to lead our characters and lead their their actions as we follow the whole story, and how everyone else is involved in the one idea. Because I feel storytelling has been so overcomplicated. As a Christopher Nolan lover, I love his films, but they are complicated. And I think everyone, especially when we're starting out, we try these gigantic ideas, but we don't know how to tell them. We focus so much on the dialogue, on the cool magic element, the sci-fi elements, but in the core, we don't tell a story worth listening to. Sometimes I don't think we get a story that we are attached to. And knowing how to make a simple story, but making it make your audience feel, is, I think, the best thing I have learned in this class.
Awesome. I can say it better myself. If I have a trailer for this class, I might use that in the trailer, because it's a problem that a lot of younger students like yourself, they get caught up with like the world and making cool concepts and stuff, and they don't know how to make it simple. So if you're having problems with that, you should definitely reach out to me and we could tell a simple story together, right? The next question I want to ask you is, if you could only choose one thing, what would you say was the most valuable part of the mentorship for you?
Uh, but I think I'll return to one of the first lessons, the armature. It changed my perspective to what I all have known about storytelling from all the classes, from all the teachers I have. It's changed the kind of person I think I'm as a storyboard artist.
Okay.
And it's like there's two kind of different mindsets, and I feel like this one just resonated in a way that I understood. I think quite logically, and for a long time I didn't understand what I'm trying to say, which made storyboarding very hard. Because not only do we need to know have a story, but do we need to visualize it?
Yeah.
But understanding it in the simplest way, what you're trying to say through your characters, whether it's a personal thing, if it's a universal thing, or it's just something you want to say, it directs every step of your way, the kind of movements you take, the camera, the characters you create, the downhills they face. Everything is based on that simple idea. And I didn't believe at first how how it affects everything that follows after.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great answer. So yes, thanks so much for sharing your experience in the mentorship, Patricia. The last question I want to ask you is, if people want to see more of your work and they want to see the sequences you made in the mentorship, or maybe ask you questions about the mentorship, where can they find you on social media?
You can follow me on Instagram. It'll be paatty.art. I'm actually posting a sequence right after. I kind of started through the mentorships, but I want to post some of my work from the mentorship itself. So if you want to see more of my work, I'll come in contact. Please follow. I also will link my portfolio page to it. So
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. So thanks again, everyone, for watching. I hope Patricia's experience in the mentorship will kind of help you make a decision on whether you want to work with me, or if you don't want to work with me, if it's not right for you. If you want to, talk to me and ask me more questions about my mentorship, feel free to message me on Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever you see this video. And we could schedule like we could schedule a consultation where we could talk about if the mentorship is right for you, right? So Patricia, thank you so much again for doing this. And, I look forward to seeing you making movies in the industry one day, right?
Thank you.
So thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you in the next one.